let's take some time to work on interviewing preparation. There, like I told you about the CAR STAR format, so I might even have to run and get my questions, but we can just deal with questions that people hate dealing with anyway. How's that? I've had students say to me when they work with me to prepare, isn't this cheating? And no, there's no such thing as cheating when you're preparing for an interview. You're just anticipating what questions are going to be asked and having an answer clear in your mind and ready to give it out. So you can give it to them in 3 minutes and the interview can last the amount of time it's supposed to last. So, for instance, give me one question you actually hate hearing in an interview. Just one. Oh, I know what every one of you hates hearing. Go ahead.
Anything that starts with, tell me a time that you insert X here.
That is a behavioral style interview question, and the reason they ask it is because people are normally nervous. We're not anymore in an interview. We're never going to be nervous in an interview because you're going to know your stuff so well when you go in there that when they flip you up on a question that you weren't prepared for, you can have a little laugh and say, wow, that's a great question, and I didn't even think you might ask me that, so just give me a second and I'll come back to you with an answer. That's how prepared you can be in an interview. So when you're nervous, your brain isn't thinking properly. You're nervous. There's a little less blood going to your brain, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm just guessing that. Anyway, so you say things that you didn't think you said. So when they say, give me an example of a time when you had to make a decision on the spur of the moment. Well, what I would do, they know you didn't do it. Okay? So they want to know the times that you did do it. Give me an example of a time when you did have to make a decision. Oh, I never did. There's always a way to find out when you did. Every question they ask you in an interview doesn't have to mean that it happened in a workplace in the past 5 years. I've had students go back to when they were children and got in a fight with a bully, and how did they handle that? That's how they answered the question, give me a time when you didn't get along with somebody. You don't have to say, oh, well, I was 5. No, that'd be more like 15, and this bully bullied me and I beat the crap out of him. You don't have to say that. You don't have to describe who it is. I've had them go, well, you know, I always get along with everybody. Okay, you got a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever. Yeah, okay. Think of a time when you didn't get along. You don't have to tell them, well, it was with my husband. You can if you want, but I would suggest you answer the question first, and then at some point in the future, after you've got the job, say, yeah, that was about my husband. Really? They don't care. They just want to know, what's your behavior like? So those questions are really easy once you're prepared. And the key is to actually, because I have a list of questions that I get from my very, very, very favorite book for interviewing, and has been for many years, and I've taken them and put them on index cards that I just email out to you, and you look at the question, and then they give you the reason that they're asking this question and what they're looking for in an answer. And then you can write your story out. And if you do this, and you use these stories, and you update them every time that you're going to go to an interview, then you're gonna fly, because now it's fresh in your mind, right? You can run it by me and say, Julie, is this the best one? Because I've got lots of others I could use. Sure, sounds good to me. But you're gonna make every negative a positive. So one thing I know that a lot of people hate to get asked, tell me about your strengths, which is always followed with, and tell me about your weaknesses. And usually they ask for one or a couple. So I prepare you with, let's prepare with one. Have a second one if they do ask for 2, but just prepare for 1. So, what's your greatest strength?
I think the greatest compliment I've ever gotten was my supervisor says I notice things a lot of people don't.
Okay. So, attention to detail, would that be?
That'd probably be it. More, analysis is seen through reading between the lines.
You see the big picture.
See the bigger picture, see the implications of it.
Yeah.
In a way that people would.
That's a great strength. So what's your greatest weakness?
I would say probably analysis paralysis. Essentially, sometimes in problems, I'm concerned about finding the correct solution and delay the decision or, judging the components of it.
Okay. So how does that, why is that a bad thing?
That's a bad thing because sometimes it can delay the process of decision making.
Okay. And what do you do to overcome it?
Well, realistically, the best thing you can do is just kind of make the decision, make it faster. So what you could do is stop trying to consider more factors. Just look at what you have there on the table and just go with that instead of trying to add more and complicate the situation further.
Okay. So to answer that question is, and it always follows, it's rare that it doesn't follow your greatest strengths. And my greatest strength is that I see the big picture, and that means that I can really anticipate any problems that might occur or areas that we need to pay attention to. So then what's your greatest weakness? Well, I tend to spend too much time on the problem to make sure that I get the best answer. Knowing that, I give myself a deadline by which to make an answer so that I can meet the deadline of this project. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. How about you? What's your greatest strength? You don't want it to be you, do you? Okay, how about you?
I guess I'm a big thinker, so, and it's very similar to his actually.
You see the big picture?
Yeah, and I can think fast, so that's the I guess that's the biggest thing that I accomplish different things with this strength.
Tweak it a little bit as much as you can to be a little bit more specific, because thinking fast is good reflexes or good response time.
So basically, if I go with my guts
Yeah.
toward a question, that's most of the time that's true. That's a correct answer to that question.
By which that's true for everybody, so just know that.
Mhm.
Your gut never lies.
Yeah.
Okay, but as a consultant, businesses do not want to think that you're going with your gut.
No.
No, you don't want that. So be careful using that as an answer, especially depending upon the job. I just go by the seat of my pants. Oh no, we can't have that. We need some structure.
Relying on instinct instead of going, or relying on experience rather than instinct.
Yeah, yeah. And what's your weakness?
It's paying attention to details after I have the answer. I go very deep in details and cannot come out easily.
Okay, so see, paying attention to detail is actually a strength, right? So no, that's good. That's what I'm wanting you to do, is turn it around into strength. So what I would say is, I spend a lot of time on the details to ensure that the customer's going to be happy. Knowing that if there's a deadline, I just make sure that I'm following the deadline and I'm not going to, miss it.